In this video, we'll continue our morphology as well as physiology of insects as a representative member of arthropods. Now, we have already said that if you want to view the nervous system of insects, just look at the ventral region of a cockroach body cavity where we see a railroad track, something like a railroad track, something like this, that consists of two ganglion, which is the ventral and the which is the ventral nerve cord, which is called the subosophageal ganglion, and the dorsal one is called the insect brain. So look at it. This is what we have here. So look at it. This one is the brain, and this one is the subosophageal ganglion. So we now have other ganglion as well, like thoracic ganglion that is found in the thorax, and the abdominal ganglia that is found in the abdomen. So look at this. This is how the nervous system of an insect looks like. This is how the nervous system of an insect, a typical insect, looks like. You understand? And this is their brain that sends nerves, sensory impulse from the what? From the central nervous system. So this one will be the what? Will be the peripheral nervous system, which is the subosophageal ganglion that is found in the mouth, thoracic ganglion that is found in the thorax, and the abdominal ganglion that is found in the abdomen. So these are the things that we have here. Now, let's now talk about the endocrine system. Remember that if you have watched one of my video on nervous system physiology of human, we have two regulatory systems in the body, which is the nervous system, that is the principal regulatory system, and the endocrine system, which is like a subordinate regulatory system. It is being controlled by the what? By the central nervous system, which is being controlled by the nervous system, which is the principal regulatory system. Now, let us talk about the endocrine system of insects. Although typically produced in small quantity, hormones, which is the endocrine cells, may cause a profound change in target cells, and they have two effects. The first effect is stimulatory, and the second effect is inhibitory. So they can be stimulatory and they can be inhibitory. Categories of these hormone producing cells in the insect body is this. We have the endocrine gland, that it is released into the circulatory system. If it wants to work, it is being released into the circulatory system. So the circulatory system is going to take it around the body or take it to the target cells. You understand? Then we have the neurochemical organ that stores their secretory products in a special chamber until stimulated to release by the signal from the nervous system or another hormone. So those are neurochemical organs. Now the third one is the neurosecretory cells. They respond to stimulation by producing a secreting specific chemical messengers, and they serve as link between the nervous system and the endocrine system, that is the neurosecretory cells. Then we have the internal organs like the ovaries and the testes, the fat body, and some parts in the digestive system like the gastric caca, amongst others like that. Now, these structures form an endocrine system that helps to maintain homeostasis, which is the constant and steady internal environment. It coordinates their behavior. It regulates the growing insects. The largest and the most obvious endocrine gland are found in the prothorax, just behind the head. And this prothoracic gland manufacture what we know as the excidisteroid. What does excidisteroid do? It stimulates the synthesis of chitin and protein in the epidermal cells and trigger a cascade of physiological events that culminate in molting. It results in molting. So this excidisteroid that is found in the prothoracic gland, it is what? It stimulates the process of excidiasis or the molting from its name, excidisteroids. And once an insect reach an adult stage, its prothoracic gland, which is prothoracic gland atrophy, it withers away because they don't need to molt again once they reach adult stage. Now, the prothoracic gland produce and release excidisteroid only after they have been stimulated by something known as prothoracicotropic hormone, which is the PTTH. I think I mentioned that in one of our last video, which is the prothoracicotropic hormone. This is this particular hormone that stimulates the prothoracic gland, which in turn release the excidisteroid. So these are what we have in the end. So let us continue with the endocrine system. And they manufacture juvenile hormone that inhibit the development of adult characteristic during immature stage and promote sexual maturity during adult stage. Now, we now have neurosecretory cells in the brain that regulate the activity of the corpora allata, stimulating them to produce juvenile hormones during larval or lympha instars, inhibiting them during transition to adulthood, and reactivating them once they reach the adulthood. Now, The neurosecretory cells also produce and secrete brain hormone that appears to be the same as the prothoracic thyroid hormone, which is the PTTH. And we have the ovaries and the testes that produce the gonadal hormone that coordinate courtship and mating behavior. So we have ventral ganglia, which produce the eclusin hormone that help the insect to shed its old skeleton, and another buxtion, and that causes hardening and tanning of new one. And there are still some other hormones that control level of sugar dissolved in the blood, adjust salt and water balance, and regulate protein metabolism. Molting hormones stimulate a series of physiological events like apolysis that lead to the new synthesis or the synthesis of new exoskeleton. So these are the endocrine system or the endocrine cells that we have in the endocrine system of insects. Let us now go to the reproductive system. Reproductive system closely related to species are often isolated from one another via small variation in the morphology of reproductive organ that prohibits interspecies mating. It prohibits, so there is nothing like interspecies mating in insects. However, a generalized system can be constructed that closely represents all sexually reproducing insects, and that is what we have in this particular structure. So this is the female reproductive system, and this is the male reproductive system. So in the female reproductive system, we have the what? We have the ovary. We have the ovary where the egg is being produced. We have the oviduct, that egg that is being fertilized is being taken into, and we have the vagina where the what? Where the genital chamber is, and that's where courtship happens. So we have the spermatheca or the spermatheca gland, and that is where matured egg or the fertilized egg has been stored. You understand? Once they move from the ovary through the common oviduct, they are stored in the what? They are stored in the spermatheca gland, well, which is the spermatheca. And in males, we have the testes, the sperm tube, and the vas deferens. The testes is what produces the what? The sperm. The vas deferens is what conduct the sperm from the testes to the ejaculatory duct. And we have the adagios, which is also the same thing as penis. It's the same thing as penis. So this is the male reproductive system of insects. So in our next video, this video wants to focus basically on insects, and in our next video we'll be moving to the class Arachnida, where we'll be talking about the reproductive, the morphology, the structure, as well as other parts of the class Arachnida, as you are seeing in this particular slide that we have here. So, and we will be talking about the classes of the class Arachnida as well, like the other under class Arachnida, where we have some like what do we have? The Scorpionida, Pseudoscorpionida, Arane, Solifuge, Uropygle, Ambiplygye, another class or other like that under class Arachnida. So in next video we're talking about that. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next class. Thank you.